Race fans, and welcome back to the Midwest Sim Racing Association's Rapid Fire Pizza Nationals. Today, we are at Darlington for 155 planned laps in the Open Setup League. Guaranteed to be another good time as always. I'm your host, James East, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Free the action 1080p, 60 frames a second. Drivers getting their way out onto the grid. Kenny Meadows starting on pole. Braxton DeWeese starting second. Robert Anderson starting third. Timothy Davis fourth on the grid. Barry Stevens starting fifth. You've also got John Bider starting sixth. Evan Longacre starting seventh. Julio Villabos starting eighth. Robert Cook starting ninth. Scott Stevens starting 10th. Brent Wall starting 11th. Jamie Knopp starting 12th here today. Cycling it back to John Midget starting 13th. Derek Whitford starting 14th. Richard Malogani 15th on the grid. Julio Villabos Jr. starting 16th. David Centini starting 17th. Mike Howerton starting 18th. Bobby Harmon starting 19th. Stephen Davis starting 20th. Matthew Dyer starting 21st. Chris Noble starting 22nd. Kyle Mullering starting 23rd. Greg Newsom 24th on the grid. And cycling it back one final time to James Duke starting 25th. Bill Dolph starting 26th. And Billy Fitzgerald going to round out the 27 driver grid here tonight. And let's get ready to go racing. And again, 155 laps. And we have a stage break planned for lap 20. So we're going to get them rolling behind our iRacing safety car. Now let's see what's going to happen. A lot of very strong drivers out here tonight. As you see Kenny Meadows in the 96 machine warming up the tires in that Ford Mustang. That's going to be Braxton DeWeese on his right-hand side. The second row is going to be Anderson and Davis. Your third row, Stevens and Binder. Now, these guys are known for some long, clean, green flag runs. But let's see if that's going to stay true to form here tonight. As always, thank you so much to our fans, friends, and racers alike who tune in each and every week supporting the broadcast. Your favorite racers, your favorite league, and possibly even your favorite broadcaster. We couldn't do it without you guys, and the show wouldn't be nearly as much fun without our fans. As the pace car makes its way in here at Darlington. Kenny Meadows will be starting the pace, and away we go for 155 laps at the MSRA National, sponsored by Rapid Fire Pizza, our title sponsor. Braxton Luis takes the lead early from Kenny Meadows, but with this being an open setup lead, it's very interesting to see how the drivers try and dial everything in. Some guys looking for short run pace, other drivers setting up the car for long runs. It looks like DeWeese maybe a little bit of lead there from 3 and 4, has to really whoa up the number 8 machine. And that's going to put Kenny Meadows back into striking position. It's Luis, Meadows, Anderson tied up together as Brent Wall has had a bit of an incident coming out of 4. No caution as of yet. So we'll keep things rocking and rolling here, but already we're seeing some drivers having issues. as Deweese and Meadows extend the gap to about a half second over Anderson and Davis, running third and fourth. Right now, Davis has the fastest lap of the race with a 30.34, but still very early on in the evening. Interesting thing here at Darlington, the line way up by the wall, so as these drivers starting to tighten up, it's going to be tough to keep that car from drifting wide into the wall. And conversely, if these guys are set up with a very loose race car planning to go the distance under green flag conditions, that means their cars are going to be very free here, wanting to dance around that tail end. It looks like Braxton Deweese, though, feeling very comfortable in the Chevrolet. He runs out front a half second of Meadows. Clicked off a very fast 30.13 early on. So he's not too worried. Let's go a little bit further back into the fray as we watch Evan Longacre, the 95 machine, bright yellow on camera. He's running fifth on track, getting chased by Barry Stevens, Diego Villabos, Scott Stevens, John Binder going back and forth just behind. And now it looks like Jamie Nobbin, the 28 machine, wants to interject himself in the party. Will we run this all the way out to lap 50 before the stage break? As Diego Villabos, Barry Stevens putting on a little bit of side-by-side action. This was a battle for sixth. Because I think that was Barry Stevens up into the outside wall very, very hard there. He is now down 5 positions as the field scatters behind him. That's Derek Whitford, Mike Howerton, both making a move on the now wounded 78. Man, what a hard impact for Stevens early on. As you can see, really that whole right side corner panel, looks like the front right quarter panel and the back right, both heavy damage. Looks like the number plate dropper itself is fine though, right on the door. And already seeing some drivers coming to grips with the outside wall here at Darlington. Sacrificed a few quarter panels by the time it's all said and done. As we check in on Diego Villabos, he's behind Evan Longacre by about 0.3 of a second, but has Scott Stevens putting the pressure behind as well in the 55 machine. This is the battle, this is the running order of 5th, 6th, and 7th on the screen. As it looks like Scott Stevens looking to get set up on the Villabos and maybe try and make something happen in that 55 machine. It's just ahead of them. It looks like Villabos getting dangerously close to that outside wall. Villabos hopping out of formation, maybe to make a jab at Longacre. But here comes Stevens looking for any way through he can. Diego Villabos really knows he needs to make something happen against Evan Longacre. Otherwise, Scott Stevens is going to continue pressing the issue. I don't think that 55 machine is showing any signs of slowing down here. That's already Braxton Deweese, the number 8 machine, stretching his legs. Now just about a second and a half ahead of Kenny Meadows in second. Like all the party is from about 5th place back as your top 4 very stretched out here. I think I spotted, yeah, that's Julio Villabos in the number 45 Toyota Camry. He's right on the back of Scott Stevens. He wants to catch up to Diego Villabos. Family member and teammate maybe try to work together here if they can. Because it's usually a long night of green flag racing. If you can find those allies to work together with, it can really bode well over the long run. Again, this is 5th through 9th place, excuse me. All within 1 second of each other, 12 laps. And these guys are clicking off laps very rapidly. Back up just a little bit to Evan Longacre, you can see the top 4 drivers ahead of the 95. Again, that's Deweese, Meadows, Davis, Anderson, your top 4. Longacre finds himself about 2 seconds back from that pack. Another good battle out on track. That's Bobby Harmon, the 73 machine, getting pressure from Centeni and the 79. Both Chevrolet drivers trying to fight for that 12th place spot, currently owned by Harmon. Just a little bit further ahead again. It's a busy racetrack ahead of Julio Villabos. That's Stevens, Knopp, Diego Villabos as we go 2 wide, 2 deep. Looks like Knopf maybe came in a little bit too hard there, has the check up. And that allows Diego Villabos to take over the 6th place spot, now up 2 positions. Scott Stevens, Julio Villabos, very faintly brushing the door handles on both those cars. Uh-oh, Julio's in the wall. Looks like he holds on to it. As already we're seeing the effects of tire wear. Some drivers already a second off their fastest laps of the race. And we are scheduled to go to lap 50 before our first planned yellow flag with that stage break. Now, Evan Longacre running 5th. He's gotten a bit of a breakaway, running about a 1.3 seconds ahead of Jamie Knopf. Knopf, though, still has his hands tied as Diego Villabos and Julio Villabos Jr. have linked up nose to tail, 7th and 8th. We've also got Howerton, Stevens, Whitford, Harmon, Centeni, all relatively close here in this pack, but looks like Knopf getting a breakaway from traffic as things still getting heated behind him. Mike Howerton charging up through the field. He's up 10 spots so far in the number 51 machine. And so far, guys, rocking and rolling, not having any big issues, despite how tight the pack has been here. David Centeni, Bob Harmon, Derek Whitford in a 3-way battle for 11th. Centeni looking at the inside line of Harmon, not quite able to make it happen. Looks like Harmon has a little bit better drive down the start-finish line. And still side by side they go through 1 and 2. Matthew Dyer a little ways back, the number 2 Ford Mustang, about, well, it was 6/10. He found some massive run there, closes it to 2/10. And now Dyer's going to get involved in the party. Oh, we've got something happen. Somebody must have tagged that wall. I think that may have been one of the Villabos family. Yeah, it was. Diego Villabos in 43. He's down 2 spots. I thought I caught the tail end of him tagging that outside wall, and that was the case. Things are still getting heated up here. We've got one driver swerving around. That's the 44 of Harmon, I think. No, Whitford. Oh, just like that, Whitford ripping the lip here. He gets a dirt race. How high they're going up. Gas caps touching the wall here at Darlington. Right behind them, that's David Centeni in the 79 machine, putting the pressure on Harmon. Harmon just about the tail of the 44 Whitford. As we go 2 wide, racing once more. That's Harmon on the inside line. Ooh, a little bit of a bump there. But they're gonna hold, oh no, Harmon gets into the back of Whitford. And up, over, around it goes. The 73 machine. Harmon also heavily involved in that one. But man, oh man, look at Whitford. Green around the track, almost gets hit by the safety car. And that'll bring out our first caution of the night. As we take another look at that, that's the 44 of Whitford up on the high line. They had just made contact between himself and the 73 machine. And it almost looks like the 73 comes up ever so slightly. It's going to be a tough one to call, but Bobby Harmon looks, I can't tell if he hooked Whitford, if Whitford came down, what the issue is. But Whitford about to go for a spectacular ride here. 79 machine of Centini barely gets through, and look at that. The 43 of Villabos gets up and under the 44, Derek Whitford. And Whitford going to go on an absolute wild ride, ripping the front end off, careening around on the hood. And he will unfortunately be done and out for the night. That'll be our first caution of the night. Braxton DeWeese will be your race leader. Let's see if anybody opts to come down pit road. I don't think they will, as they know that the planned stage break on lap 50 will get everybody a chance to get on fresh tires and a full tank of gas. But man, oh man, that was a absolute spectacular wreck. Don't see that very often in the newer style cars. And yes, looks like DeWeese will come down pit road. And we will get them re-racked here. Let's see, does anybody opt to stay out? No, everybody comes down pit road for that one. But we'll get them re-racked once more at Darlington. Everybody coming in, taking fresh tires. A full tank of gas. Looks like, yeah, I don't think anybody's on a two-tire strategy here. That's going to make it a very quick shootout. Less than 25 laps left to go until the planned stage break. But now that we've got people off cycle, that can really open up some strategy out here, allowing drivers to take different fuel stops. So it's going to be DeWeese and Meadows back again on the front row. DeWeese has just gained one spot, taking it away from Kenny Meadows. He'll be starting alongside of him. Anderson and Davis, your second row. Longacre and Julio Villabos Jr. will be the third row. As it looks like Julio will be our hard charger at the moment, running sixth. He's up 10 spots from where he started. We got several different drivers up 10 spots. Julio Villabos Jr., I've just mentioned, he's in sixth. Mike Howerton up 10 spots in 8th. Kyle Mulring up 10 spots in 13th. So some big moves are being made here. Well, let's try this once more as we wait for the iRacing safety car to come down pit road. Again, Deweese and Meadows linked back up, but the top three drivers were fairly stretched out over that run. Race car is in. And away we go. Deweese with a massive launch over Meadows. Looks like Robert Anderson trying to make moves, but it's going to be Evan Longacre in the 95 machine picking up a spot the easy way as he takes over the fourth place spot from Timothy Davis in the 92 machine. Loving the new paint scheme that Longacre's sporting tonight. Very easy to spot the 95 machine. But looks like Davis not happy with it. Gonna return the favor, looking to the inside line of Longacre. Is once again allowing your top three drivers to stretch their legs though. It looks like Meadows trying to catch back up to Deweese. Deweese has a 4/10 advantage. But Robert Anderson, the number 47 machine, who's running third, also right there with it. We've got to go back to Longacre, though, because he's right in the mix of things. With Timothy Davis, Jamie Knopf, Julio Villabos Jr., Mike Howerton, Scott Stevens, all here in the mix. And this is where things can often get frantic for the field. You've got drivers coming back out on track with fresh rubber underneath them. Underneath them as the fastest lap of the race, a 30.10. As Longacre, Davis, Villabos still linked up here, relatively nose to tail. As we go a little bit further back to the side-by-side action, look at that. The battle for fifth, Timothy Davis, Julio Villabos Jr. going at it here. I think that's Davis. May have bounced himself. No. What was that? Oh, as they tagged the wall, that was the number 28 of Knopf with a big moment. Davis also with a moment in 92, so no caution, but things getting very heated here as it shows Diego involved in a crash, but I'm not quite seeing it here. The Villabos had an issue, takes a tow back to pit road. That's the great thing here about the MSRA Series. Always great racing across the track as we watch Jamie Knopf trying to reel in Mike Howerton in the 51 machine. But Howerton, a man on a mission, up 12 spots so far. And I don't think he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Now running sixth out on track, up 12 positions. Trying to put a little bit of a gap there on Knopf. But with how fast and consistent the entire field is, it's gonna be difficult to make any big moves. And what I'm very intrigued as well is hearing how much tire squeal is going on out on track. Looks like Greg Newsom comes down pit road for an early stop on lap 34. He must have had some issues. I think we saw him just send it back to the virtual hauler, so yes, he did. And what a start to the race, not even to the first stage caution. And Newsom, Diego Villabos, Bobby Harmon, Derek Whitford have sent it back to the virtual hauler. Billy Fitzgerald and Stephen Davis showing us did not starts here tonight. As it looks like Longacre finding some pace, catching up to Robert Anderson. And it's about to be a three-car battle for third. Robert Anderson, Evan Longacre, Julio Villabos, all in the mix here. We're watching Anderson, the 47 machine, try and defend against Longacre's 95. And Longacre in a tough spot here, knowing if he doesn't push, that Julio Villabos Jr. in the 45 Toyota will gladly push the issue on his behalf, if not a rear bumper. Or, and this is a slight possibility, will you see these three drivers maybe work together and close the just about 9/10 of a second gap that Kenny Meadows currently has in second. A challenger appears in the form of Mike Howerton making a move on Villabos. He has no plans of tucking in behind anybody. As he will take a little bit of time to size up Longacre, and I would expect that maybe one to make another lunge again. There are stage points on the line here. We'll see the caution come out on lap 50 for our one and only planned caution of the evening. Howerton, Longacre in the wall, coming out of four. Howerton's been really able to make that 51 machine stick on the inside line. And he takes over the fourth place spot. Longacre falls back to seventh as Howerton moves up to fourth. Villabos now fifth. And you can see the top three drivers ahead, very stretched out, but Howerton gonna try and close that gap to Anderson. I don't know if a stage win would be possible for Howerton here, but he is definitely gonna try. Striking a little bit further back, John Midget, 29, starting to crawl from the standings. He's catching up to Longacre, 95. We think Longacre may have a little bit of damage here, slowing him down as he's dropped down the standings, now 9th on track. And that may give an opportunity to David Centeni, who's up 7 spots so far, working his way a little bit higher inside the top 10 before that stage caution comes out. Again, that's going to be on lap 50. Centeni in the 79 trying to catch up to old friend and rival Longacre here. But we've got something else going out on track. The battle for third. Howerton taking a peek at the inside line of Anderson. He has rapidly closed the gap, but he's also brought Julio Villabos in the 45 with him. So it will be a three-car battle for third. Very different lines here. Anderson immediately going to the high line. It looks like Howerton almost got the racetrack here. But I know from experience those cars can be a handful come out of two, but Howerton makes the pass. Villabos will follow suit. And just like that, Howerton puts it into the top three as we wind down closer to the stage end. Braxton Lee still out front, Kenny Meadows second. Meadows has a 2-second It's been extremely quick here tonight. Will be our current hard charger, up 15 positions from where he started. And already only 19 drivers on the lead lap out of the 21 who are still out there racing. And things still heated in about that 5th place spot. Jamie Knopf works his way around Robert Anderson. Scott Stevens also in the fray, as well as Midget, the 29 machine, moving up the field slowly but surely. Anderson still nose to tail. They're about a second back from Villabos, but gaining ground here. It looks like Stevens has other plans in the 55 as he looks to the inside line of Anderson. The 29 Toyota Camry as well, trying to work his way a little bit higher inside the top 10. All these drivers out here fighting hard for every championship point they can bring home. We've got drivers trying to let the 53 machine decide dive down the apron. Yeah, that was Chris Noble, who is now a couple laps down, but just very quickly getting to the apron to avoid getting in the way of the race leaders. Oh, we got another battle. Looks like Knopf has bad internet issues. But we'll get ready to finish the stage. It looks like it's going to be Braxton DeWeese in the number 8 machine, looking good for a stage win. He's right behind Bill Dolph in the 66 machine, who's going to try and stay on the lead lap here. As now we will throw the caution lights on. And Braxton DeWeese, I believe, will lock up the stage win. Ooh, right as he has almost a moment with traffic, Dolph just very lightly tagged that wall. That's the last thing your race leader wanted, or would have wanted, is to get tied up with traffic. So your official stage results: Braxton DeWeese first, Kenny Meadows second, Mike Howerton third, Julio Villabos Jr. fourth. Cycled up a little bit further. Robert Anderson fifth, Scott Stevens sixth, Jamie Knopf seventh, John Midget eighth, David Centini ninth, and Timothy Davis will round out the top 10. So everybody, I believe, is going to come down pit road, grab 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas, and we'll try it again for the remaining about 100 laps here. Who's going to be leaving pit road? Again, I think everybody here is going to take 4 fresh ones and roll right out. I don't think there's a single benefit to track position with how many laps we have left to go. As we are under caution for the end of the stage break, I'd like to once again thank our title sponsor, Rapid Fired Pizza, for coming on board, making this series so fantastic, as well as Old School Ninjas coming on board, supporting the series as well. Couldn't do it without our sponsors or our racers, as well as the fans at home, really making this series what it is each and every week. Got the live timing tower on the left side of your screen. Looks like it's going to be 19 drivers on the lead lap, with 21 drivers still out there navigating the track. Here we go, green flag racing once more. Braxton DeWeese with another great start. Kenny Meadows still in second behind Mike Howerton. The field getting busy, and man, inside, let's go back to Robert Cook in the 8th place spot. Squarely in the meat grinder in the 64 Toyota. Up one spot from where he started, but trying to keep some headway. He's behind Midget in the 29 machine. He's up 29 spots. Excuse me, that was way wrong. He's up 6 spots in the number 29 machine, I should say. Our Charger still Howerton in 3rd. As we go back to, again, side-by-side action, that's Timothy Davis, Evan Longacre. Braxton DeWeese got down to a 30 flat, a 30.03. Still holding a 4/10 margin over Meadows, as it looked like Centini getting a little bit wild there towards the rear. He's looking on the inside line of Anderson's 47 machine. Is that the 47? That's Anderson holding on to a bucking Bronco here. He must have lost the front right. The field checking up. No caution. Will everyone get through? Oh my goodness. What a big moment there out of the 47 of Anderson. He decides to take a tow alt F4ing. He is done and out, but he was absolutely fighting that car for almost half the track here. Jamie Knopf trying to make a move on Robert Cook in the battle for 7th. But the meat grinder, I think, is from 13th place back. We're watching John Binder, Julio Villabos, Kyle Mullering all in the mix. Good seeing Kyle. I've called a few of his events before. Always fast in the 84. Sponsored by Fox and KTM. Looks like Howerton's starting to have a little bit of pressure from Centini. Centini's closed the gap to about a half second, now to right at a quarter of a second as they come out of turn 4. Howerton's last time by a 30.72. Looks like Centini with a 30.73, so both drivers running 3rd and 4th and very evenly matched on pace here. They're about 9/10 behind Kenny Meadows in 2nd. Meadows just 8/10 behind DeWeese. Centini's closed the gap to a quarter of a second. Chris Noble back down pit road. He's one of those drivers that was already a lap down the 53 machine. Wondering if he's off, maybe off cycle, maybe has some sort of damage he's trying to address. Not quite sure what the issue is. We'll see if that 53 Chevrolet gets back out on track. As we pan back to Timothy Davis, he's involved in his own battle with Evan Longacre just for inside the top 10. This will be the battle for 9th. Right behind him, it looks like that's Matthew Dyer and Villabos Jr. also battling for 11th. Villabos looks like he just threw it up the inside line against Dyer. Up front, Centeni and Howerton still linked up nose to tail. They've closed the gap to about 4/10 to Meadows. And we did get confirmation from pit road. Chris Noble has returned to the raceway. He's about 4 laps down from your leaders, but still trying to make something happen. And we are 70 laps in, just about to the halfway mark. And still great battles all across the track. Barry Stevens, John Binder, Kyle Mulring in a 3-car battle for 12th. Tough to keep an eye on everything that's going on right here. I mean, we're kind of panning back and forth. Howerton just still has lost a little bit of time to Meadows. No, he's closed it still to just about 3/10. Looks like Centeni off the pace ever so slightly. Are we going to see a 3-car battle here? As another battle out on track, Robert Cook, Scott Stevens linked up nose to tail. This will be the battle for 6th. Cook in the number 64 Toyota, Stevens in the 55 Chevrolet. We'll also compete Jamie Knox in the 28 Toyota starting to gain the ground as well. So the field starting to close up ever so slightly. Cook starting to catch up to Midget, and up front, Howerton closing the gap to Meadows as well. They link up nose to tail. We're going to check in on Kenny Meadows, who has Howerton, the number 51 machine, hot in pursuit. And let's see, is Howerton gonna make a move on Meadows? Or is he gonna maybe tuck in here? Seeing what Meadows is doing in that 96 machine, maybe measure him up a little bit before he makes a plan for the green flag stop. Now I think it's gonna be around lap 105. The fuel window is gonna open and close around lap 120, 125, if I remember correctly from my time here in the Xfinity cars at Darlington. Howerton kind of taking a peek the inside line of 96. Not sure if he's looking for a way around Meadows or maybe trying to get some clean air on the front of that 51 Ford Mustang. It's going to depend on how he set the car up, how much tape, but no, it looks like Howerton's going for it into turn 1 to take over second place. So we are still changing things up. We open up the live timing tower, left side of your screen. You can see Deweese, your race leader, about a second and a half ahead of Howerton. And Howerton's going to put his head down. We know he's got a fast car. Will it be enough to close the gap that Deweese has here? As David Centini has also made his way around Meadows. So let's pin it back to Howerton. Number 51 machine has closed the gap now to 1.1 seconds. So we may see Braxton Deweese feeling a bit of pressure here. That last time by, Howerton running almost 3/10 faster than your race leader. It is now a 1 second gap between Deweese and Howerton. Oh, I do love calling some green flag run races. The gap now down to 9/10. So I'm excited for two reasons here. To see what Howerton will do if he can catch up to the number 8, Braxton Deweese. And I'm also excited to see how the strategy is going to pan out between these two drivers. We're going to go on board with Mike Howerton for a lap here at Darlington. Why grab a glass of water and let's see if that 51 machine can catch up to Deweese, your current race leader. Howerton still closing the gap, stalking Braxton Deweese, getting closer and closer to your race leader. Now just 0.6 of a second separating the top two drivers. They've pulled a massive gap, about 2 seconds to David Centini in third. Centini, though, still has pressure from Kenny Meadows in the 96. Now we see a little bit of traffic ahead. No, excuse me, that was the race leaders. I was about to call that. I thought Braxton Deweese and Mike Howerton were going to be facing traffic. They've got about 7 or 8 seconds of pit track ahead of them before they run into Brent Wall in the number 6 Ford. Wall running 14th on track. And that shows just how blistering fast some of these drivers are. We've only got 14 drivers on the lead lap here. As here comes traffic for Braxton DeWeese, he'll have to slice through. As Howerton's staying in hot pursuit. Again, we're expecting the fuel window to open up around between, I think, lap 100 and 115 is where you'll see drivers start to come down pit road to fill up and get back out there. Still, DeWeese and Howerton less than 2/10 separating them. Now earlier I thought we were going to see Howerton try and get some more clean air on the front of the 51. I think that's what he's doing here as well. And I wonder if Howerton's going to fuel save a little bit or no as he slides up next to DeWeese. Every time I think Howerton's trying to get some clean air on the front of the 51 machine, it is him setting up for a pass. I wonder how many times he can advertise that move before the drivers ahead of him maybe get wise, but fortunately for Howerton, he hasn't been passing the same people over and over. And a big moment out of Howerton. Gets wildly loose in the back end there. Oh, there's somebody getting wildly loose ahead of your race leader. I think that, I'm trying to see who that was. But they very quickly hop down the apron as lap traffic works their way around the race leader, trying to get some laps back here. So let's cycle back a little bit further, checking in on David Centeni in the 79 machine. Again, he's got 14 positions, had a rough go in qualifying, started 17, and has worked his way all the way up into a podium position, but still getting stalked by Kenny Meadows. You've also got John Midget getting chased by Robert Cook, 64, the two Toyota drivers battling out for 5th. But who will be the first driver to come down pit road? Oh, here comes Howerton looking at the inside line of DeWeese, the battle for the lead. Will Howerton be able to slide up? Yep, a bit of a slide job against DeWeese, and Howerton, the number 51 machine, will take over the race lead for the first time here tonight. DeWeese tries to answer back, trying to carry a little bit more speed on the high line, but Howerton holds on to it. So now the question is, Howerton, who has spectacular long run pace, will he stretch the fuel all the way out to the limit? I would imagine he would do so, knowing he's got the pace here. The longer he can stay out on track, in theory, the more of a gap he can build up over DeWeese. DeWeese already finding himself at an 8/10 disadvantage. Ooh, Howerton with a big blink, though. That's the last thing he wants is technical difficulties. Howerton clicking off laps. Let's also check in on Jamie Knopf and Scott Stevens. Stevens has worked his way into 7th, but it looks like Knopf in hot pursuit. These two drivers are about 8/10 off of Robert Cook in 6th. But it looks like Knopf in that bright yellow number 28 machine has some pace and working his way forward. So the privateer effort working well so far. The field getting fairly stretched out here. Not a lot of tight battles out on track. I think the biggest gap we can find, the closest racing we can find, Kenny Meadows is running 3rd. He's 1.6 seconds ahead of Centenny. Centenny about a half second ahead over Midget. Midget a half second or 6/10 over Cook, and then Stevens and Knopf also in the fray. Closing the ground here to Cook. And Midget also closing the gap to Centenny and the 29 machine, or the 79 machine. Oh, and closed it rapidly there. Centenny must have had some sort of issue out of the 79 machine, and he dips down the left side of the track. I wonder if Centenny's going to be one of the first drivers coming down pit road. Jamie Knopf, I guess, technically the first. He came in a lap 102 in the 28 machine. Got Scott Stevens down pit road for his green flag stop. I would have thought Centennial was thinking about diving down pit road here with kind of, I guess, the moments. But look at that, Braxton DeWeese comes down pit road, the first driver in the top 3. Howerton and Meadows opt to stay out. So how long is Howerton going to stretch the fuel run out of the 51 machine? Interesting enough, I don't see anything too wild happening here. Centennial coming down pit road. Malugani also down pit road. So it looks like most of the field down pit road, but Julio Villabos had some sort of problem. Let's take a look and see what happened to him there. Watching Julio Villabos bucking and holding on to it, pushing way wide on the apron. Oh, I think he's going to get a penalty for that one, tagging the pit entry cone. And poor Julio having a rough start, almost gets squeezed off by, I think that was Evan Longacre. And things are getting exciting during our green flag pit stops. So now it's going to be Kenny Meadows, I believe, getting a race lap led as Howerton finds himself on pit road. And this should be the one and only planned green flag stop out of our competition here tonight, as now Meadows comes down pit road for the final time. Be interesting to see who comes out on top here. As I think it's going to be Braxton DeWeese as your race leader. As the green flag stops, finishing up here. Knopf showing second, Howerton in third. On the white outside wall there. I thought it might have been Binder, but not the case. It's tough to tell with how much traffic is circulating out here. Braxton DeWeese, who led a large portion of the race in the opening half, now finds himself with a 3-second advantage over Knopf. Knopf 1 second up over Howerton. further back. Kenny Meadows, Robert Cook, Kyle Mullering all linked up together. I believe, yes, we did get confirmation. Julio Villabos Jr. was in his pit stall for just about 55 seconds with that unsafe pit entry. As Kyle Mullering gets cycled further back as he gets ready for a pit stop. He hasn't been down pit road since lap 84 here tonight, which is appropriate because he is the number 84 Chevrolet. He's on very old tires. You can see how deep he went in the corner there. The tires not happy with how long they've been out. With that different strategy than everybody else, so not quite sure what Mullering's planning or what the thought process was, but off cycle, trying anything he can. Back up front, Jamie Knopp has a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but more importantly, he's got Howardson linked up right behind. As it looks like Knopf got very loose there out of, I believe that was turn 2. And now Howardson takes over the second place spot, cutting through traffic. As he is very quickly putting about a 9/10 gap over Knopf in the 28 machine. Knopf maybe not quite able to get through traffic just as clean, but he's got Julio Villabos Jr. in front of him. Julio will be driving like a man possessed after that pit road penalty with a little bit to prove. Timothy Davis has made the move on Kyle Mullering, working that number 92 Ford just inside the top 10. As Mullering continues to fall off the pace, as now Longacre slides by the 84 machine as well. So great racing all across the track. Speaking of John Binder. Oh, wait, let's pan back. Kyle Mullering takes a tow back to pit road. Let's take a quick look, see what happened there that maybe caused him to go home early. So we're watching Kyle Mullering, number 84 machine. Looks like he may tag the wall there slightly through 3 and 4. Waiting to see what just happens to that Chevrolet. No, he gets loose. Oh, we've seen that a time or two. Just at the start-finish line straight, tries to hold on to it and sends it careening against the wall before he goes back and takes a tow to pit road. Checking in on your race leader, Braxton DeWeese, not having too many issues out of that number 8 machine. Well, let's go back. Robert Cook, John Binder having a bottle. Kenny Meadows still running strong. And no, Binder's actually going to set it for pit road. A very late pit stop. His third and final planned stop of the evening. Let me tell you, folks, I am a big fan of seeing everybody out on different strategies here tonight. Makes it very exciting, as you don't quite know who's going to do what or how it's going to pan out until very far into the end of the race. As we check back in with your race leader, Braxton DeWeese, not having any issues, has a little bit of traffic to contend with. He'll play it safe here, not make any too risky moves. So let's see what DeWeese is going to do here in the Reaper Speed Labs back number 8. We've seen him have a couple of close calls with traffic, and as we saw with Moldering just a few laps prior, even though the end of the race is in sight, still plenty of time to wad up some perfectly good race cars. So DeWeese still pretty quick on pace. He's about a tenth and a half slower than Mike Howerton is in second. Howerton's closed the gap to about 1.9 seconds to your race leader. Other than that, there's not many close battles out on track that are less than a half a second. You've got Scott Stevens running 4th in the 55 Chevrolet. You've got David Centini has closed the gap to 4 tenths behind him. Centini ran about 2 tenths faster that last time by. Let's see, here comes Stevens. No, Centini, I'm sorry, made the pass nice and clean. And he will move up to 4th place in the 79 machine. So now we're going to see if Stevens can hold the pace, because Kenny Meadows starting to catch up in the 96 machine as well. But we are getting later into the fuel run. It's very interesting. The guys that were set up for that very long 60, 70 lap run, how those cars are going to handle in the final stint here. They've closed the gap. We haven't run about anywhere between 40 to 55 laps in the final stint. So how do they set up the cars here to make that happen? Or do they run the full same setup, don't make any adjustments, and see what's going to happen till the end? Oh, we've got something brewing up front. Braxton DeWeese now has Howerton right behind him in the 51 machine. It was over a 2-second lap, 2-second advantage to DeWeese several laps ago, and now Howerton has closed the gap all the way to 3 tenths with 26 laps left to go here tonight. I think we've got a battle for the lead about to unfold. We saw this almost exact same thing happening in the really big, massive green flag run we had after the stage caution. And here comes Howerton right on the back bumper. As we go on the back of Braxton DeWeese. Oh, no, switch over to Howerton right on the tail, trying to make something happen. Let's see if Howerton does the exact same move. He takes a peek and then sends it in there. And yes, Howerton with the same move he's done several times before, pulls up alongside Luis for the race lead. Luis, yes, they're nearly ahead, but no, Howerton will be ahead by about 1/100th of a second, crossing the line side by side into one, and Howerton will get clear of DeWeese and take over the race lead. DeWeese looks back to the inside line, but I think Howerton's going to be free and clear here as DeWeese chases the draft out of the 51. Braxton DeWeese with a big blink in second, but Howerton is putting the hammer down. He ran just over 6/10 faster than DeWeese that last time by. And the 51 machine of Howerton up 17 positions from where he started here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Another battle out on track. Kenny Meadows, David Centeni have linked up once more. Two drivers that haven't really been able to get away from each other tonight. There's also Robert Cook in the picture in the 64 machine. As we focus on Meadows to see if he's going to reel in that 79 of David. This right now, ladies and gentlemen, the battle for fourth out on track. Centeni in the 79 is up 13 positions. Meadows in the 96 down 4 spots from where he started, having a bit of a rough night, but trying to capitalize, salvage some points this evening. Pulling the advantage back to a half second. Meadows knows that he also has Robert Cook right behind him, so it could very well be a 3-car battle for fourth. Now, unfortunately for these drivers, unless something major happens here, they're about 5 seconds back from Jamie Knopf. And it'll be very tough to close that gap unless you see these 3 drivers really working together, and that's if they do have the pace even amongst themselves. Centeni holding on for dear life here. It's been a bit of a yo-yo between Meadows in that 96 and Centeni. This is the closest battle we have out on track after 140 laps. Mike Howerton, still your race leader. Braxton DeWeese runs second. Jamie Knopf running third. Centeni and Meadows round out the top 5, but again, you still got Robert Cook trying to crawl a little bit further ahead in the 64. He's gained 3 spots over the duration of this event, but I don't know if there's gonna be enough time. We check in on Howerton, your race leader. He has whittled down the field to only 9 drivers on the lead lap with 15 laps left to go. Excuse me, there's Howerton on screen. We were looking at Braxton DeWeese there briefly. 9 drivers, 14 laps. I don't think we're going to have to worry about a caution here unless, and that's a big unless, we don't want to will this to life with the commentator's curse. If we're going to see a big incident, I think it would be between Centini, Meadows, or Cook. These are the three closest drivers we have out on the circuit. With about 1 second separating this three-car line. Looks like none of the drivers here running 4th, 5th, and 6th really able to make any big moves like they want to. Just never quite able to get that gap. Let's go a little bit further back where Evan Longacre and Richard Mulligani having a battle of their own for 11th, just outside the top 10. Mulligani is up 4 spots. Longacre is down 3 spots. And I think Braxton DeWeese has disconnected from the server a couple of laps ago. Yes, he is gone, so DeWeese has lost connection. He's been plagued with internet woes for most of the season. And unfortunately, after so many hard laps, just how many laps was it? 12 laps. He disconnected right before starting his 143rd lap. 12 laps to the finish line. DeWeese loses connection. All that hard work for such a fast driver. And that's going to put Jamie Knopf now in 2nd place. David Centini finds himself with 3rd. And that may make Meadows and Cook a little bit more frantic running 4th and 5th, knowing that a podium is very close to reach here. Robert Cook especially has closed the gap down to Meadows, now just 0.2 of a second back from the 96 machine. He's 0.8 back from Centini in 3rd. The battle for 4th on screen. If Cook wants any chance of getting within podium contention, he's got to work with Meadows here as they do close the gap now. Meadows a 0.5 second back from Centini. Oh, but that's going to be undone as Meadows gets wildly loose. And Cook will take over the 4th place spot, but that has cost him a 0.5 second to Centini, who may have just been, I don't want to say gifted a podium, but definitely takes the pressure off of the 79. And I think he knows that he's put another 10th on there over Cook. So it's now got a 1.1 second advantage that David Centini in 3rd has over the 4th place driver, Robert Cook. It's going to be 5 laps left to go this time by Centini. To give you an idea of how fast Howerton is here tonight, Centini in 3rd is 16.2 seconds back from Mike Howerton. Howerton has a let's call it a 14-second lead over Jamie Knopf. So Howerton has found something, and he's found it at the right track at the right time, as I think he's looking good to pick up a win here, barring any sort of late race misfortunes. We're all hoping this thing goes green out till the end. We've seen races here at the MSRA Rapid Fired Pizza Nationals with late race cautions, green-white checkers that threw a wrench into a whole lot of long-run drivers. Let's check back in with your race leader. He's been working his way through traffic, but still almost 15 seconds ahead of his closest competition of Jamie Knopf. It's going to be 3 laps left to go this time by. If Howerton can just take the white flag, he will be feeling good here. As let's go back, though, to the battle for third. Not yet decided with 3 laps left to go. Robert Cook with a final last-ditch effort in the Wrangler back 64 Toyota Camry, putting the pressure on Centini in the 79. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Centini in the wall hard. And that's going to give it, I think, to Robert Cook. Centini's going to, I can't imagine he won't have a little bit of damage. You see some battle stripes on the right side of that 79. Two laps left to go. Cook now has 7/10 over Centini. I think Centini is going to be beating the wheel there after that one. As Mike Howerton takes the white flag for the final time here at Darlington. Got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but I don't think Howerton's going to worry too much about Timothy Davis, who's just ahead. Davis is a little bit squirrely out of 2 and the track wants to flatten down. I think Howerton's going to take it easy, play it safe, and cruise on into victory lane as he makes his way through 3 and 4 for the final time. And Howerton takes the checkered here at Darlington, picking up the win in the number 51 machine by a 15-second margin. Jamie Knopf bringing home second. And there comes Robert Cook, 6/7 ahead of Centini to round out our podium here tonight. But it has been the Mike Howerton Show, picking up a fantastic win here at Darlington. That will complete my time here at Darlington. As always, on behalf of the Rapid Fired Pizza National Series, Old School Ninjas, and of course Rapid Fired Pizza, thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to hand it over to our podium team. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next one.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Howerton here with post-race interviews in the MSRA Rapid Fired Pizza National Series. We're going to do a little bit of a different format tonight, mix it up just a hair. I'm going to do the first 2, and my post-race interview partner tonight, Evan Longacre, is going to jump in with the last post-race interview. But we're going to kick things off as we start out on the podium tonight. 3rd place goes to Robert Cook. Robert, this is your first time on the podium here in the Rapid Fired Pizza League. How does it feel?
It feels pretty good. It got a little rough there passing Dave, but I think we kind of pinched each other off going in a corner. Sorry about that, Dave. And I'd like to thank Rapid Fire Pizza and Old School Ninja for putting this thing on. And Jamie for giving me some room on the beginning of the race. Or I give him room. I can't remember which way it went.
Yeah, and everybody at Area 51's been having a real good week at Darlington this week. You've been having good finishes all week. What can you say? We know there's been a few people on the team running different sets, but how was your car feeling tonight? And as we got on that, there's 2 really long runs there after the stage flag came out, and we went green again, and we had those 2 long runs. How did your car hold up on both of them?
Oh, it felt pretty good. It had been a long time since I've been driving off the right rear, and it felt pretty good. It felt really good. All 4 of us were running different sets tonight. Bobby got involved in that first accident there, and too bad for him. And I think we all did pretty good. And you too, Mikey, for getting the win.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it very much. Robert, I tell you what, we're headed to Kentucky next week. We were just there here a few weeks ago in the Open Series is here in iRacing for Xfinity cars. What are your thoughts heading into Kentucky, and how strong are you there?
Oh, I'm terrible. We got Scotty, I think. I think he's the best guy on our team that was doing pretty good a couple of weeks ago there. Scotty should do good. I'm struggling there.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. Scotty beat me there in Kentucky. I think I just ran a couple of them. So, hey, Robert, I'll go ahead and give you the opportunity to give you the last word here tonight, and just kind of any final thoughts, any last words you had about your third-place finish tonight, to race tonight, and or anything else going on.
Well, I just want to apologize to James Duke. I got loose coming off that corner, and I think we both had the idea of going on the inside, and we met. Yeah, I just want to apologize to him again. And that's it.
Absolutely, that's a good note to end on with you there. We never feel good about getting into anybody on the track, so everybody always appreciates an apology. Robert, thank you so much, and congratulations on your third place finish tonight. Second place finisher tonight, Jamie Knopf. I think I got the last name right there, Jamie. And hey, man, is this your first time on the podium this season?
Yes, sir. This is my second race running with y'all. I've been running the truck series, and then I said, man, I need to run the V car some because I seem to do a little better than that because all the people running the road to pros and the trucks, and they're pretty tough.
Overall, do you like the feel of the Xfinity car better than the truck, or maybe the truck better? Like which one do you feels better when you drive it to you?
I like the Gen 6 car. That was my favorite, but since it's gone away, then I've started liking the V car a lot better. It's not got as much aero grip as the Gen 6 did, but the trucks seem like they're just too close together. You could be running 4th or 10th and still be running the same lap time. So the V car seems to separate a little bit. And, yeah, on the start I gave Robert room, and because you can't go into turn 1 too wide, so I was trying to make sure I tried to single file out right there getting into 1.
Yeah, and there's a lot of us that race the Xfinity Open Series in iRacing, and we always consider the V car or the Xfinity car a driver's car for a lot of the things you said. The air, they doesn't have all the downforce in the air like you were just talking about, and you can get separation, and because the downforce isn't as much, you got to make sure the back end don't get away from you. But it's definitely a driver's car, and I just want to say you seem to be adapting pretty well to it. And as you were preparing for this race this week, like, were you running open races, or did you put in a lot of practice? Like, what kind of preparation did you do to get ready for this league race tonight?
Yeah, I ran one open race the other day. I finished 3rd because the guy in 2nd place thought it was the last lap, and he pulled over and stopped, so that got me 1 spot. And I was wanting to congratulate you on your win also.
Yeah, Jamie, I appreciate that, and I think that open race you were talking about, that was me. I was in 2nd place, and I thought the race was over, and I pulled down, and about 4 or 5 cars passed me.
Yeah, it was you, and I like to thank Pay to Win Setups also for the awesome setup. And I was running about 7th or 8th there. I think I was about 6th, and I got into the wall, and then it started pushing right before the stage break, so I fixed the damage and come out about 12th, and I got up to maybe 8th, I think, and me and Scott was right there together, and then I said, I'm a short pit, and then maybe it'll leapfrog me in front of 5 that was in front of me, and maybe only 1 or 2 would get back by me, but I was able to run 3rd for the longest, and then the 2nd place man, he had engine trouble and blew up, so that's what helped me get to 2nd place, but it was a handful at the end with the wore out tires.
Yeah, Jamie, I mean, 155 laps is a good amount of laps here. We had 50 laps. We had the stage caution come out. Then we come back out in the second part of the race, and we ran another 100 laps. And so, like, what kind of strategy went into this for you? And, like, what strategy were you working through the race? And yeah, kind of how did that play out for you? Because a lot of guys, when they go to and they plan a race like this, and they plan tire strategy and all that kind of stuff, what kind of strategy played out for you in this race?
I always like to pit late. That way I'm usually faster from there to the end of the race. But here it was so hard to pass with wore-out tires. Even when you caught a lap car, you would just run the same speed as them, and they'd never let you get by, and you'd pull away. And then so I was just hoping if I pitted 5 laps sooner than everybody that I could click off those fast laps real fast, and then by the time they catch me, maybe the times will level out. And I think I was 8 seconds ahead of Scott when we come out of the pits, and then Robert wound up getting the third, but I think he was about 9 seconds back, and he closed up to 3 seconds, so I timed it about perfect.
Yeah, and it seemed to work out real good for you, man. I tell you what, as we round out this part of the interview, do you have any final words or final thoughts here for the audience tonight watching?
Check in the race on Saturday and Sunday. It ought to be exciting. It's hard to drive around this track and keep it off the wall for 155 laps.
Awesome, Jamie. Thanks, man. Good luck in the next week's race.
All right, thanks, and thanks everybody for putting the race on.
Well, and now it is time for the transfer here. We have a new winner in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. The winner of tonight's race, we have Mike Howerton here with us, otherwise known as our main interviewer for the series. But, the glove is on the other hand tonight. Mike's the one getting interviewed on the top step of the podium. Mike, how does it feel getting your first win here? And, with the how last week went, there was a caution and a bunch of iRacing problems. And how does it feel to come out here and, actually cross the line in first place?
Yeah, man, it felt good, obviously. But, it made, last week it made it, everything was all said and done, after the race. Knowing that we were coming to Darlington this week, it made it a little easier last week because Dover and Darlington are my 2 strongest tracks, in all of iRacing. So, I knew that, what happened last week happened, but I knew that at least I'd be able to come out and have, if I didn't win, I'd at least have a strong finish tonight. So it made me feel better just because I'm so strong at Darlington. Our team's got, we've always had for the last year and a half, we've had a real solid base set here in Darlington, on our team that we operate with. And so, Darlington's been really good to me. And the main thing here is just keep the car clean, and I usually do. And it turned out pretty good for us tonight. Just want to also mention, last week, I haven't watched the broadcast yet, but it is what it is. A lot of people will watch it. I don't know what all the announcers talked about, but basically iRacing had a bug, and I'd led, I think, the most laps in the race at that point whenever the caution came out during green flag pit stops. And it's one of those things, Evan, where if you're in the lead or in the top 3 and green flag pit stops happen and everybody starts coming in, it's one of those things where you're just praying that there's not a caution while you're in the pits. And that happened last week to a bunch of us. And we come back out, and we were supposed to get the wave around to get back out on the lead lap, and iRacing just, I don't know what's going on. They reviewed it, race control reviewed it after the race, and they iRacing reviewed it the race control reviewed it after the race. They found out where the bug happened, but it was a bug. And then, it is what it is. But, we worked it out after the race, and we're not going to, there's nothing against the guy who won the race, and Matt, did a good job last week and won that race. And so nothing taken away from him. But, we worked out an agreement on the points for that race and stuff that, everybody could live with, and, over the bug and iRacing that happened. So, yeah, it felt good coming out this week knowing that Darlington was a strong track.
What did you do in your preparation for this week? What did you do, and when did you start prepping for Darlington? How soon after Dover ended?
Yeah. So I think I started running some. I'm usually one of the strongest guys on the team at Darlington this week, or each time we're here. And so what I did was, I think Sunday I went and ran a couple of stints and ran telemetry for the guys on the team and sent them my telemetry so they could have something to compare against. So yeah, I ran a couple of full fuel runs there on Sunday, and then I've just been racing open races nonstop, Evan. Like this is my favorite track in the whole sim. So I've been racing every single open race I could, and tried a few different things on the set, but I always keep coming back to the tried and true Darlington set that the team has.
I gotcha. So, with this being your first win in the series, what does this do on your outlook for the rest of the series? Now that you've got multiple playoff points built up, you're 100%, you're locked into the playoffs now. You were after Dover, but with you crossing the line first tonight, what does that do, and does that change your game plan for the rest of the season at all?
As I think about it, last season I was here for about a quarter of the season, and a couple of me and some of the guys on the team didn't agree with something, and we quit. That's probably kind of childish of us, but we did. And so I didn't get a win last season when I was in the league. So this is my second season in the league, and sticking it out this year. And I've been frustrated some. There's been several tracks where I've had a good car and I've gotten hit or wrecked or whatever a couple of times, or done something to myself. I think one time I had equipment failure. I think that was at Las Vegas. So, and I was doing real good at Las Vegas. We were strong there. I had equipment failure. So, I've had a lot of frustration so far in the season just due to my, just bad luck or equipment failures or like whatever. And so it really, really made me feel good about the league. Not that I didn't like the league. Obviously, I've been doing all the interviews and stuff, but it made me feel good about my position in the league headed forward, and the fact that I can win in this league. That like I'm not going to have bad luck forever. That I can come through on a solid track and I can do it. So it gives me more confidence moving forward.
How does a win in the league compare to winning an official race?
I don't know. I mean, I race a lot of official races. I love racing them, so win always feels good. I guess the difference is the official races are shorter. These races are longer, so it means you got to really take care of your car. You got to make sure that you don't tear it up. You have to, save tires more, tire management. And then the league races are once a week, man, and we're racing for championship points through the whole season. There's prizes at the end, and so, and also we race with the same guys each and every week, including you, Evan, so we're all racing the same guys. So, it means something when you win with the guys that you race, the same group week in and week out. So yeah, I think this is. This is the first league race I've ever won, not just here, but this is the only league I've ever ran. I've never ran any other leagues but this one. So yeah, it definitely feels like an accomplishment. I've won open races before, so this definitely feels like a bit of a bigger accomplishment since it's my first one.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that statement. So we head into an off week next week, and then we're coming back after that. What are you going to do on your off week? You going to relax? Are you going to keep practicing, or what's your plans for that?
I'm not even sure where the Open series are going next week. If they go somewhere I like, I'll race the Open. But if not, dude, I love to do road racing. A lot of guys don't know that about me, but I love doing road stuff. I love the F3 car. I love racing the MX-5 and the Production Car Challenge series, and also in the C-Class Mazda Cup series. I'll do that. I'll do the F3s, and I'll even do the GT3 cars here and there a little bit. We had a Area 51. We put together a team for the 24 hours at Daytona, and we raced that and got I think 6th place in our split, and it was we almost we almost caught 5th place, but we finished 6th, which was real solid. I mean, there's probably 30, 40 people in that, 35, 40 cars in that split. So yeah, do a lot of road racing. So yeah, it just depends on what's going on in the off week. What I'll do. Hopefully there'll be a good track in Xfinity that I like, but I haven't even looked at the schedule yet to see. I've been too focused on running races at Darlington. I think I picked up a couple wins so far in the Open Series this week. But now looking forward to Kentucky though, Evan, I'm not looking forward to that. I am horrible at Kentucky. I'm just slow. And Scotty beat the pants off of me when B Open was at Kentucky there, 2 weeks ago, something like that, 2-3 weeks ago. So I am not looking forward to Kentucky race. I'll be lucky to finish on the lead lap. It's like somebody puts an anchor behind my car and I'm dragging it around the track at Kentucky.
I completely understand. I've been there and done that a couple of times. But no, as we wrap all this up, is there anybody or any groups or any teammates or individuals or anyone that you want to shout out?
Absolutely, man. I definitely want to shout out Area 51. Man, our team's had some growth a lot in the last couple of years. Last year we were in the league under SimCave Racing, and that was my old team name that we had. But I just want to shout out the guys who have been with me in SimCave. There's Scotty Stevens has been with me from about the beginning. And then this past fall, we merged with Dark Horse Racing, picked up Bobby Harmon, Corey Wolf, I don't know if everybody, Scott Austin we picked up, and Rick Disler we picked up from that as well. We merged, and then we also picked up Robert. We had a merge with Robert and some of the guys he was running with at the time, and then we also Tracy Rumschlag from Area 51. We rebranded with his team name, and we've been running as Area 51 for a while now. So I want to thank everybody on our team. We all work hard and contribute what we can to each other and take what we need. And I'm really proud of my team. We do real well in the open races, and I'm hoping we finish out the rest of the year with some strong showings. And really, I also want to thank, and a lot of this is kind of cliche. Almost every time I interview someone, they always say, "Well, I want to thank the league. I want to thank you, Evan." And the thing is, I really do, because this is the only league I've ever raced in, and so it's really cool. Last year, whenever we broadcasted the Daytona race, not the beginning of this season, but the previous season, I thought that was cool. That was the first league I'd ever been in where the races were broadcast and everything. And then we didn't do any more for a while, or I don't know if we did any more while I was in the league. But this year, you and David from Old School Ninjas, both you guys, you picked up the tab and you're paying for broadcast every single time. And so that means a lot to me personally. I love them. I watch them. I download them on my computer and stuff, and I watch them and everything. And I'm keeping them. And I know a lot of other drivers, especially on our team and other teams, that have talked about that. And I just want to let you know sincerely how much I appreciate that. And it really makes this league feel like it really makes me feel like it takes this league to the next level. And it just makes it awesome. So I personally want to thank you and David specifically for doing that and creating an awesome league for us, even though we yell sometimes at each other and all that stuff. Everybody has a good time. I love it. Not going anywhere. And I want to thank you guys for doing that and sponsoring it with Rapid Fire Pizza, your restaurant there, sponsoring it through there, and also with David with Old School Ninjas. And it just makes the league so much better. And then we're doing prizes this year and stuff. So it's really made this league top notch. And so and it's something I can personally recommend. Anytime anybody asks me if there's an Xfinity league that's good to get in, I always say, hey man, go check out MSRA and the Rapid Fire Pizza League. I said it's a great place to be for Be Open. So that's the last where I want to leave it tonight, is just thanking you guys sincerely and just and telling you why I'm thanking you. You've really taken this league to the next level, and I want you to know that I appreciate it.
I really, really appreciate that, Mike. It makes some of the work that anybody does, it always makes you feel good whenever someone thanks you for something for that. So I sincerely thank you for saying that as well. But, that's going to wrap up our show here from Darlington in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. That was the race winner. Mike Howerton put on quite a show, picked up his first win. We're heading into an off week here, and we'll see everybody in a couple weeks whenever we come back. Got to thank Rapid Fire Pizza, Old School Ninjas, and, of course, Goon Squad for putting on our broadcast here. And from Evan Longacre and everybody else here at the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series, we will see you guys later.